Forced disappearance includes both the destruction of bodies as well as the destruction of evidence. In the Ayotzinapa case, forced disappearance is manifested through the language of false narratives. We have plotted the multiple accounts of the events of the night of the 26th to 27th of September 2014 on a time-space matrix in order to identify moments of collusion and the persistence of contradictory narratives that work to prevent the resolution of this case. The horizontal axis indicates time, starting from 1300 hours on the 26th of September. On the vertical axis, we plotted, from east to west, the locations in and around Iguala where incidents took place. With a black line, we drew the versions of the events as officially presented by the Attorney General of Mexico, the Procurador General de la República, or PGR, which he called the historic truth. This version is still the one presented before the Mexican judges in the ongoing case. According to the PGR's so-called historic truth, at 1300 hours, the students were already at the outskirts of Iguala, in Caseta de Iguala and Rancho del Cura, trying to commandeer buses. Between 1900 and 2000 hours, they regrouped at the Iguala bus terminal. At 2045, as they were leaving the terminal, they were attacked by the Iguala local police. The students proceeded to drive to the junction of Juan Alvarez Street with Periférico Norte, when they were attacked again. 20 to 25 students were then taken to Comandancia police station. From there they were taken to Loma de Coyote, and finally to the Cocula dump, where they were executed by members of criminal organizations, their bodies left burning until midday the following day. In red, we drew the paths of the victims, who were students, and a local football team, Los Avispones, according to their testimonies. At 17:30, roughly 4.5 hours later than the time determined by the PGR, the students left the Ayotzinapa school towards Iguala. At the Iguala bus terminal, they commandeered 3 more buses and left the station in 2 convoys. Both convoys were attacked simultaneously in 2 separate locations, one at the northern end of Juan Alvarez Street and one in front of the regional courthouse, the Palacio de Justicia. 2 further attacks occurred later that night. Many of these attacks were not acknowledged in the PGR's account. Here, an important discrepancy between the narratives becomes visible. The PGR claimed that the students had already been taken from the buses at the time when the students testified they were still under attack. This is the moment when the students were forcibly disappeared. The surviving students then dispersed, some trying to escape. In purple, we drew the narrative paths of the alleged members of criminal organizations according to their testimony. 9 such narratives are drawn on the mural. Together they show 3 different scenarios relating to the fate of the 43 students. We blurred the lines representing statements taken in police custody, which, according to the independent group of experts, may have been obtained under torture. The proximity of the purple and black lines demonstrates that the official PGR scenario, claiming the bodies were burnt in the Cocula dump, is derived from the testimony of criminals obtained through torture. The distance of the purple and black lines from the red line shows how these accounts diverge from the victims' own narratives. In blue, we drew the paths of the key police patrol vehicles as described in their testimonies. These lines closely follow the path of the students, and we can see that multiple police forces, depicted in different shades of blue, were involved in the attacks. In green, we drew the trajectories of members of the military. The path of a military intelligence agent, known as IACHR, closely matches the movement of the students. He was present at 2 crime scenes, in the centre of Iguala, and at Juan Alvarez. Another military agent, initialed EME, was present at the Palacio de Justicia crime scene. The presence of the military agents at the attack sites indicate that they were aware of the unfolding of the crime. After the attacks, these same military personnel visited the crime scenes and Hospital Cristina, where the students had attempted to get medical assistance. We mapped communications using arched lines connecting the different sites. The agents reported to the military headquarters at the base of the 27th Battalion. These lines show that while the attacks were taking place, the military was also communicating with local and federal police forces using the government's central communications system, known as C4. These patterns demonstrate that, at the very least, the military surveyed and was aware of the attacks, and yet did nothing to stop them. The mural is a visual representation of the violence and obfuscation that unfolded during the night of the 26th to 27th of September 2014. It reveals the synchronized nature of the attacks, the participation of multiple security forces, and the overwhelming degree of coordination and communication between them. The complexities and discrepancies visible through these narrative lines suggest the persistent dissemination of false scenarios. This may contribute to the continued unresolved status of the victims as forcibly disappeared.